Okay, let's get into it. We are diving deep into the rainforests of Latin America today. We're talking about an animal that honestly sounds like it should be maybe chasing rabbits, but nope. It operates as this incredibly sophisticated amphibious pack hunter. And get this, it can take down the largest prey in the entire Amazon.
Yeah, we're talking about the bush dog, and it really does flip the script on what you might think a wild dog is. For you listening, this deep dive is really a masterclass in adaptation, how this super elusive creature manages to be both, tiny, looks almost like a stumpy little weasel, kind of clumsy looking,
Yeah.
and yet somehow it functions as a top-tier predator. It's amazing.
Right. So our mission today is to explore these unique adaptations, some really bizarre contrasting behaviors, and unfortunately, the serious survival challenges facing this hidden South American specialist. This is a deep dive into an animal so rare it was like literally missing for decades.
That's absolutely right. The history here is pretty wild. The bush dog was first discovered from fossils way back in the 1860s. And for a long time, many scientists actually thought it was extinct until, the early 20th century when living ones were finally documented.
Wow. So even though it's so elusive, its range is huge. Costa Rica down to Argentina.
Exactly. It's incredibly broad. And despite that elusiveness, yeah, Costa Rica all the way down to the northern tip of Argentina.
So it's not just stuck deep in the rainforest then?
Not at all. I mean, they definitely thrive in tropical rainforests. That's sort of their classic habitat. But they're really adaptable. You find them in swamps, grasslands, basically anywhere with enough thick cover, and this is crucial, water. Water isn't just, something they drink. It really defines their whole way of life.
Okay, let's stick with that identity for a second, this idea that we know so little. You look at this thing, smaller than a beagle, you said. Maybe 5 kilos. You just never guess its power. Why is there so little field research on them?
Well, it really boils down to two things. They are incredibly wary of people, and they love places people don't go. They actively avoid roads, trails, any human-frequented areas. They stick to really inaccessible, dense undergrowth.
Ah, so they just don't show up on camera traps much.
Hardly ever.
Oh.
It makes traditional research methods really, really difficult. So a lot of what we understand about their behavior, which is surprisingly sophisticated, comes from indigenous knowledge, a few rare direct observations, and studying them in captivity.
And they've earned a pretty unique local nickname too, haven't they? The vinegar dog.
That's right. It's because their urine and feces, which they use to mark territory, is apparently incredibly pungent, like really strong, sharp smell, hence vinegar dog. I imagine tracking their territory must be quite the memorable experience for researchers.
Okay, let's shift to the water then, because this seems to be where the bush dog really stands out. You called them the otters of the dog world. That aquatic skill sounds like their secret weapon. How do they actually manage to swim so well and use it to hunt?
Well, they're amazing swimmers. And it's down to physical traits you wouldn't really expect in a dog. They have webbed toes, like proper webbing between their toes. And their body-shaped short legs, stout body helps in the dense jungle. But those webbed feet make them super proficient in water.
And they use it strategically, like as a trap.
Precisely. That's the genius of it. When they hunt as a pack, it's coordinated. Some dogs will chase the prey, deliberately maneuvering it, forcing it towards water. And the trap is, another bush dog is often waiting, strategically positioned in a water. They essentially use the river or a stream like a natural corral.
That's incredible, and especially effective, you mentioned, against rodents like pacas and capybaras, because those animals often leap into water to escape bigger cats, like jaguars.
Exactly. Imagine you're a packer, you've just managed to dodge a jaguar, you jump to the river thinking you're safe, and boom, there's this little 5-kilo swimming dog waiting for you.
That size difference, the prey paradox, it's just wild. And we have to come back to the biggest thing they hunt, tapirs. How on earth does a pack of tiny dogs take down the largest wild animal in the Amazon?
It seems impossible, right? Until you understand the teamwork and the strategy. It's not about a quick kill or overwhelming strength. It's about persistence. Gruesome persistence, really. The pack chases the tapir and they relentlessly target its legs, specifically the ankles. They just keep biting, causing injuries, blood loss, until the tapir eventually collapses. It's basically, as their source material put it, death by 1,000 little annoying cuts. Grim, but effective.
Wow. But they're not just tapir hunters, they're really flexible eaters, which must be key to surviving across that massive range.
Totally. They're classic generalists. They basically adapt to whatever prey is most common locally. The variation is pretty extreme. Like in Brazil's Pantanal wetlands, 9-banded armadillos can make up over 90% of their diet.
90% armadillos.
Yeah. But then you go to Paraguay, and rodents are the main thing. And here's a weird one. In the Atlantic forest region of southern Brazil, where fruit's abundant, they actually eat bananas and papayas almost as much as they eat meat.
Bananas, a top predator eating bananas.
Shows how flexible they are. Whatever's available and easy, basically. It ensures they can survive in really different environments.
Okay, so this successful, sophisticated hunting, whether it's armadillos or tapirs, it hinges entirely on them working together, their social structure. What keeps these packs so cohesive? What makes that teamwork possible?
Group cohesion is everything for them. They live in family groups, usually with a dominant breeding pair and then several subordinate helpers, often older offspring. And they maintain these bonds using very dog-like behaviors, actually. Lots of communication. They make these unique, high-pitched squeaks, plus tail wagging, showing submission, all the stuff you'd recognize. And this structure isn't just social glue. It directly enables those hunting tactics. One dog flushes, another waits in the water. Others might track by scent. It's all teamwork.
And a quick little detail you mentioned, the babies look like Tasmanian devils.
Yeah, apparently. When they're born, they have this oddly similar look. A bit peculiar for a canid pup rep.
It's definitely weird. And this whole communal ambush style in the forest,
Yeah.
it's such a stark contrast to their closest relative, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. The maned wolf, it's maybe the most striking comparison here.
Yeah, talk about opposites. The maned wolf is huge, solitary, lives in grasslands, and has those incredibly long, stilt-like legs. How can two animals be so closely related and yet so fundamentally different in form and function?
It tells you a lot about how quickly evolution can work when a species moves into a totally different environment. The maned wolf, yeah, solitary hunter out on the open South American grasslands, the pampas. He uses those long legs to see over the grass, hunts alone, mostly catches small, easy prey. Then you have the bush dog, maybe a third of the maned wolf's height, lives in dense forests, hunts communally, and catches the biggest prey around. It's like the maned wolf got the height and speed, but the bush dog got the cooperation and the sheer audacity.
So that brings up the big question about their shared history. Which one is more like the original ancestor? You mentioned fossils are rare in rainforests, hard to preserve.
Exactly. That's where DNA analysis really comes in handy. And the genetics give us a pretty clear picture. The bush dog is considered the more basal dog in that lineage.
Basal. Okay, what does that mean in simple terms? Like older, closer to the root of the family tree.
Yeah, basically. It means their genetic line branched off earlier. So the common ancestor of both the bush dog and the maned wolf likely looked a lot more like the bush dog. Short, stout, probably already comfortable around water. It's kind of the evolutionary blueprint for canids in this region.
Huh. So it wasn't the bush dog that shrunk down. It was the maned wolf that had the big glow up, as you put it, when it left the jungle for the grasslands. But that reliance on the original specialized jungle environment, that makes their current situation pretty precarious, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. The bush dog's need for that specific complex habitat is its Achilles heel today.
And the main threat, no surprise really, is habitat loss. Deforestation, fragmentation, mostly driven by cattle ranching and mining.
That's the big one. And because bush dogs are semi-nomadic, these threats hit them particularly hard. They need huge, connected areas of land, big tracts of healthy ecosystem to find enough prey, especially those larger animals. As forests shrink and get broken up into isolated patches, the packs just rust. They struggle to find enough food. It's that simple.
And we saw that alarming statistic, a 25% population decline estimated over just the last 12 years. Given how hard they are to even find, how solid is that number? Is it based on good tracking or more modeling?
It's likely a combination, leaning heavily on habitat loss data, which we can measure accurately, plus camera trap data were available, and some modeling. But the scientific consensus is clear. Populations are declining, and probably quite rapidly. And remember, this is a key predator helping control rodent populations and impacting the whole ecosystem. So stabilizing them is urgent. It really comes down to conservation efforts focused on protecting large areas, establishing and actually enforcing protected zones.
Okay, so let's wrap this up for you, the listener. We've explored this incredibly rare, almost mythical creature. Webbed toes, smells like vinegar, hunts the biggest animals in the Amazon using water traps, and incredible teamwork. And maybe the most mind-bending part. This tiny dog isn't the newcomer, it's the original template, the basal form for canids in this part of the world.
Yeah, and that really leads to the final thought we want to leave you with. Think about this. If the bush dog represents that more ancestral form, perfectly adapted to these dense, unique rainforest conditions, and if its survival hinges entirely on those specific conditions, What fundamental insights about the core traits of canid evolution, about how dogs first evolved in these landscapes, might we lose forever if this amazing animal disappears? Protecting this original template isn't just about saving a species, it's about preserving a crucial piece of evolutionary history.